We didn't start a company to create a skincare product. We started by testing products to validate if they could actually reverse aging, and we found that most of them couldn't. So our initial goal was to find ways to reverse aging, and then we found a peptide that can do that. So make your skin not only look younger, but behave like younger skin.
What if skin, our most visible organ, is actually one of the best gateways to longevity and vibrant health? Welcome back, or welcome to the Finding Mastery podcast. I am your host, Dr. Michael Gervais, by trade and training a high-performance psychologist. This week's guest is Dr. Carolina Reis Oliveira, a brilliant scientist. She's a biochemist with a focus on stem cells and tissue engineering. As a co-founder and CEO of OneSkin, Carolina is using cutting-edge biotechnology to not only improve how skin looks, but how it functions at the cellular level.
They look good, feel good, play good. It shouldn't start with the looks. I think it should start from within. But actually, when you look at the science, there is a lot of data showing that looking good reflects your vitality and longevity.
So this conversation, it's not about skin. It's about the mindset behind bold innovation. It's about resilience. It's about purpose, self-doubt, how to work through that.
I'm critical about myself.
What does that sound like?
You're not good enough.
You're not smart enough. Isn't that amazing? PhD, immunology, and somehow you would say you're not smart enough. And what it takes to move through uncertainty when the stakes are really high.
I came to San Francisco by myself, could barely speak English. I didn't even have a product, but I have an idea and I know that this is my chance to make this happen. There were so many low moments and I was always finding new limits that I didn't know about myself.
As you listen, I want to encourage you to tune into the psychology beneath her success. Maybe even ask yourself, what is your relationship with aging? With that, let's jump into this conversation with Dr. Carolina Reis Oliveira. Dr. Carolina, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks, Mike, for having me.
Yeah, this is so good. I'm so looking forward to spending this time with you. In many respects, you're a bit of an emblem of radical success. You've gone from the laboratory into business, and you've made a fundamental commitment to help people live better. And that's why I want to sit with you today, is because it's the same thing I want to be able to do, is be grounded in science, create a company or a business or a model to help people live a better way. And so you're doing it, you're successful at it, and I love what you've built. The reason actually we're here is because my wife says, oh, you got to understand what she's doing, this product. So just quickly for all of us, what is your product name that you built?
The company is called OneSkin. It's a product that contains a peptide that targets aging cells in the skin and can reverse the skin's biological age. So make your skin not only look younger, but behave like younger skin.
Okay, so that's kind of the magic intersection, is you're using science to help your skin look better and to behave more optimally. Mm-hmm. It's the behave part that's cool, right? Okay. And then before we take it any further, like your accent is from?
Brazil.
Yeah, okay, good. So what part of your Brazilian self is going to come forward in this conversation?
Oh, I believe a lot of it. I think the Brazilian is usually known by its ability to never give up.
There you go, yeah.
So the resilience, I think it's really present in my life throughout this journey.
I think there's no chance that you get to the position in life that you're at without understanding how to be resilient. So, and the reason I asked it that way is to see like what part of your rich psychological skills and principles and practices are kind of grounded in culture. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like you would say resilience is part of my DNA. Like, you didn't train for it. You inhabit it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's stay on the skin level for a minute. Is that your background is immunology?
Yeah, my PhD, the title is in immunology, but my thesis was around the stem cell biology and tissue engineering. So more on the regenerative medicine science.
And then you decided to make an investment in skin. And before we get into the science of skin and whatever, there's this phrase as I was preparing for our conversation. In elite sport, there's this phrase that gets thrown around, which is look good, feel good, play good. It makes my skin crawl. I guess pun intended here. And the reason so is because I think that that's a very dangerous proposition. That if I reverse that, I play good when I feel good. Oh, that's interesting. I kind of like that. And I feel good when I look good. And I say, what? No, I need to know how to feel good, or I need to know how to operate with my feelings to be able to play well. So this whole thing about looking good to feeling good makes me a little nuts here, because that is this message that has been swallowed by so many people. And so this might be, I don't know, controversial to you, or it might be offensive, and I don't want to be, but you've made a radical investment for people to look good. And of course, you're using science to be able to carry that message. So can you respond to that to help me maybe see it differently?
Yeah, and I think to start with, like, we didn't start a company to create a skincare product or a product that would make people to look good. We're always grounded in the science, and we started by testing products that were in the market to validate if they could actually reverse aging, and we found that most of them couldn't. So then we saw an opportunity to search for molecules that could actually reverse aging at the cellular level. So our initial goal was to find ways to reverse aging, and then we found a peptide that can do that. And the first application that we saw for this peptide was to bring in a cosmetic product. So fundamentally, I see ourselves as a longevity company that now has a product designed to target skin aging. And as I went into this journey of studying and understanding more about skin, and it's been 9 years, I realized that by rejuvenating the skin, I can actually make an impact in my overall health, because our skin is our largest organ. So by reversing the age of the skin at the molecular level, we have this impact in reducing our systemic levels of inflammation, which I can share more. But just to answer your question, I think I agree with you that they look good, feel good, play good. It shouldn't start with the looks. I think it should start from within. But actually, when you look at the science, there is a lot of data showing that looking good reflects your vitality and longevity. And that's how I feel myself. If I'm looking good, I feel that I have like a more energy. I feel good about myself. And actually, there are like several studies showing that. So there is a study from 2009 published in the British Medical Journal that examined twins and found that twins that look younger tend to live longer. And the researchers used nurses to rate the perceived age of each twin and found those who looked older had a higher risk of mortality. There is another study from the Journals of Gerontology that found that perceived age correlates with telomere length, which is like the protective caps on our chromosomes, meaning that people that look younger than their actual age have longer telomeres. And there's another study about from 2017 in the journal Age and Aging, that individuals that look younger had better cardiovascular health, lower blood pressure, and better metabolic markers. So what these studies are basically saying that there is a trend that people that look good tend to invest more in their health. They tend to eat healthier. They tend to exercise. And so there is a correlation from how healthy is your body internally with how your skin looks, and vice versa. Like the way that your skin looks can impact your internal health.
I love one that you are a research scientist at heart. And so thank you for bringing forward 3 research articles. And then I also appreciate that those are correlational studies, and that you introduced a variable, which is we don't actually know why this is the case, but these are some findings, and we don't know if it's a chicken or an egg, right? And you introduced that people that have a social perception or getting attention for looking so, oh my gosh, how old? You look so good. Oh, wow. That they probably got that for much of their life. And then therein lies why they might reinvest back into their health. The other piece that I was hoping that you would suggest is that aging and perception of aging is a key variable to quality, let's quote unquote, quality of the experience of aging. So if I frame aging as like, ooh, I do not want to look old and saggy and like old people are not respected, and I got to do everything not to look that. So I'm framing it as an ungraceful, let's say, transition, versus people that frame it like, oh no, wrinkles are cool. Like, are you kidding me? It's a sign of wisdom, and like you got to kind of earn that. And yeah, I'm going to be me, and I'm going to try my best.
Yeah.
Right. But so there's an embracing of the aging and a retractive nature. Like, I don't want to get older. And that when we measure those two people, they have a significant notice. I'm not sure exactly how to recite the finding, but there's a significance between the two in the way that they actually materially age. And I'm sure you're familiar with that as well. Yeah. So I think we're going to both say the same thing. Like, it's materially important to work from the inside out.
Yeah.
And how you think about your age.
Yeah. To that point, the mindset of like believing that you're younger from a biological standpoint, or from an energy, like people that feel younger, they actually live longer as well. So there is this mindset of, I feel great about myself regardless of your age. They tend to internalize this, and that reflects into their vitality.
Meaning that we might see, if that's, I don't know that study, but if we were to do that study, we might see decrease in C-reactive protein, increase in telomere.
Yeah.
We might see, some stuff that looks like a bit younger. Actually, Ellen Langer from Harvard did a study. I don't know if you remember this, but she manipulated the environment that people lived in. So I'm going to make up some of the nuances. It's been a while since I'm familiar with the research. But let's say they were in their 70th year or 80th year, maybe even 60th, I don't know. But they were able to manipulate the environment where it looked as if they were 40 years younger, let's say, when they were younger. So they walked into this room, and I think they stayed there a week, or maybe it was 2 weeks, I can't remember. And the pictures on the walls were like from when they were 20 years old. And then they studied the energy systems, the vitality, the perception of it, and the actual observable measures in physiology. And they were younger. They felt younger just by manipulating the environment. So my point, I guess, here with you is that there is a deep psychological component that is always within your control, which is how you frame something materially impacts the experience itself and the physiological output. Would you emphatically co-sign that, or is there a hesitation for you?
No, 100%. And as you mentioned, this study, there are other studies that support that. And I do understand why people are afraid of aging, because when we look at maybe our grandparents and parents, when we see people aging, what do you think? They are limited in terms of their mobility. They are, developing a lot of chronic diseases, and your quality of life declines significantly. So there is a reason why everyone connotates aging as like a bad thing. But this is changing, because now, as scientists, understanding what is driving aging and how we can use our lifestyle or several interventions to actually counteract like the default system that's leading to aging, the declining health, we can maintain our health and our vitality, later in life. And so we have amazing, cases of people with like 80 years old that are running a marathon. And so I think now by having more examples that one, aging is a malleable process, we can modulate it and we can reverse it. We've done in the lab. There are many studies showing this. Now we want to translate this to humans. And so now there is a new way of seeing, the future for people that before thought that they didn't have an option, that aging was just one thing that they need to go through and it's going to suck.
Yeah, it's going to suck. Yeah. So in my best understanding from my lenses, my scientific point of view is the way that you work with stress makes a material impact in all of the longevity factors. Mm-hmm. And that is squarely rests in psychology.
Yeah.
You said something, so your entry into the health span, lifespan, longevity, vibrance, zest for life, and there's lots of phrases that we would introduce, is on skin. And then you said that you can reverse. So that's a big word. Okay, so this isn't just preserving, it's reversing. So first and foremost, why skin for you?
I didn't plan to start a skincare brand, but as I was finishing my PhD and studying stem cell biology, I want to translate that research. I want to bring that out into the world. And I joined with 3 other colleagues. And one of the ways that we thought of translating the research was by growing human tissues to replace animal testing. So we started growing human skins in the lab. And we tried that first approach in Brazil. Unfortunately, we didn't find support from investors, or there was not a market to absorb that technology. So we looked beyond Brazil. We founded this accelerator in San Francisco. So we moved to Silicon Valley. And here we realized that, yes, the cosmetic industry was really interested in eliminating animal testing. So we could use the models, the skins that we were growing to test their products. Initially, we were thinking about testing safety. No one was interested in safety. They want to validate if their products work and how different they were. And then we realized that this anti-aging market, which is like over $100 billion market, has this massive amount of products, and consumers still don't know which products work and which don't. And based on our expertise of growing skins, we could test the products in the skins and we could measure if they were actually rejuvenating the skin. So when we grow a skin, we can determine the skin's age by reading the skin's DNA. So we can determine, for example, a certain skin is 40 years old. So we can test a certain product and measure if that product is bringing the skin to 37 or 45.
So what is the baseline measure? Like, how is the 40 years, let's say, is the benchmark that based upon the average 40-year skin, or is it, no, this is how many times the cells have turned over to equate to, like, tell me what's the reference point to say 40 years?
Yeah, so it could be from the donor that we get the skin cells to regrow the skin. So if I get a piece of your skin, I can multiply your cells in the lab, and I basically can regrow a Michael's skin in the lab, and I could test a product. And so your skin could be similar to your chronological age or could be a little younger, again, depending on your lifestyle and how you're treating your skin. But we can, by reading the DNA or the epigenetic signature of the skin, we would determine your skin's DNA age. And so we would get a number, maybe 50 years. Let's say that you're taking good care of your skin.
Okay, yeah.
So what we would do is to treat products. We could use the OneSkin product and measure again how that product impacted the skin's age. And then we can quantify. We can see if it's reducing 3 years, if it's accelerating a few years. So that's how we started as a company, we started by testing products. And then we realized that most products did not rejuvenate the skin. Some of them were actually accelerating aging by causing a lot of toxicity and inflammation.
And is it because they're made up of like parabens and
a lot of like toxic ingredients
Right.
that are, irritants that are causing all
Petroleums
sorts
and-
of
yeah.
inflammation. And basically we saw an opportunity to develop something that would actually work. And what we also saw is that the science of aging has evolved so much in the past 10, 15 years. We now understand better what are the main drivers of aging. And none of those products that were in the market were utilizing this new science. So they were very outdated in their approach. And that's when we set ourselves to search for new molecules, more specifically peptides, that could address aging at the cellular level.
Thank you for investing in your science, the clarity to get to a product, because I feel safe using your product. I feel like there's been rich scrubbing of decisions to be able to put something on the market that shows up in the laboratory and it shows up in the quality of the experience. So like, and I'm not just saying that, like my wife has, she's got a pretty high bar. She really appreciates the choices of investing in health, and skin is one of them for her. And so, so she used your product. She's like, oh yeah. So I just follow her lead actually. Right?
That's good.
Yeah, I just follow. So, okay, but let me go back. So you don't have to wait 3 years. If you're growing new cells, skin cells, you don't have to wait 3 years, right? To see if it reversed in its aging. So how does that work?
So in the lab, we can determine pretty fast. So one experiment that we did was treating the skin with the peptide that we discovered.
OS1.
Yeah.
Do you just like drop it on the skin?
Yeah, we basically adding the liquid that the skin is being cultured. The liquid has a lot of, we call it medium, has a lot of nutrients that will keep the skin alive, and we add in that medium. And that's how we tested in the lab. So we added the peptide, and after 5 days, we analyzed the skin.
I see. Okay.
And in that case, we saw a 2.5 years reduction in the age of the skin.
I see.
So this is a lab, setting condition. Obviously, now we are repeating this in humans, and in humans, we're actually following them for 6 months up to 12 months. So we're basically testing these products, and we realize, okay, these products are actually not working as they're claiming.
And this is when you're a researcher in Brazil in a
No,
lab.
this I was already here in the US with the company OneSkin that initially was a research company. Now,
OneSkin was a research company.
Yeah,
with the idea that if we find something, we're going to turn it into a product.
With the idea initially testing products, validate if they work, and then okay, now we want to switch our approach to search for new molecules. So if you can find a molecule that actually modulates aging, this can have many applications.
Huge breakthrough.
Yeah. So we basically decided to spend like years trying to find something that was really meaningful. And that's when we discovered the OS1. We tested over 900 peptides, and it took us almost 5 years to go through the discovery, all the safety tests, all the efficacy tests.
Is it stable?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what are some of the ingredients that you mentioned earlier that I mentioned parabens. So if you look at a label, right, whatever lotion that you're choosing, if you're not choosing OneSkin, but if you're choosing it for whatever reasons, convenience or whatever is going on, like if you see parabens, can you give me the list to look for?
Yeah, unfortunately, the list, it's really long. So, for example, OneSkin is free of 1,500 potential irritant molecules. And so it's,
There's
can name
1,500 irritants?
Yeah.
But give me 5.
Yeah. So fragrance is one that you should avoid.
Meaning that if it has a fragrance in the lotion.
It can be very, it can be allergenic. It can induce allergy. It can be irritant. essential oils, sulfates.
So essential oils, you do not want those.
Yeah.
If it says sulfate on the label, you do not want that.
Yeah. And there are many, many more. So it's harder to point the specific ingredients. There are companies that actually evaluate the safety of products. We are certified by the National Eczema Foundation, meaning that our products safe for people that suffer from eczema or extremely sensitive skin.
Yeah, psoriasis or...
Yeah, so our product is safe for them, meaning that would not increase, their flares or... And there are another company called Skin Safe Products that they basically evaluate the amount of each ingredient and the potential toxicity. So they rate the whole product. So if you go to these companies, they can basically rate your product and label if it's like safe or not safe. There is another one that's called EWG, Environmental World Group, that also ranks ingredients in terms of their toxicity. None of them are perfect, but you can go to these sources and research the product that you are using or specific ingredients. And you're going to see that you're going to find a lot of ingredients that are potential, cancer inducers and
That's scary.
Yeah.
What are some of those?
I can't name at the top of my mind, but that's like such a huge, vast area of research. But I would recommend, looking for these 3 organizations and researching the products and the ingredients. At OneSkin, the way that we clearly see that the product's safe, first, like we already eliminate any product that has any dubious kind of toxicity, so we don't add any of them. Second, we test every single formulation in the skins, and through a histological analysis, like seeing the histology of the skin, we can clearly see if the skin is looking good, healthy, or if the cells are behaving abnormally, if they are dying. And there are products that when we put into the skin, they basically induce the skin to degenerate. So it's really bad.
I'm sure out of like kind of high class, you don't want to mention those brands. But I also think like there's a service to be able to say, if I was not sure what to do, what product to purchase, I definitely wouldn't search. Can you give us some clue or hint on like what to avoid, what companies to avoid, or does that seem lowbrow to you as a scientist?
It's hard because from the same brand we have tested different products, and some induce toxicity and some don't.
Got it.
So you almost need to go again to product by product and try as much as possible, see if they have any kind of certification for safety, for sensitive skin.
And tell us the certification that...
Yeah, so these are the, some of the ones that EWG, the Skin Safe Products, and the National Eczema Foundation.
Okay, and so if I use your product, and let's say it's a body lotion or a face lotion, and you've got a handful of them, how long and what would I notice? Like, what's the duration of using the product to be able to notice something different about my skin?
Yeah, so from our clinical studies, we evaluate participants after 6 weeks and 12 weeks, and there are those longer studies, 6 months and 12 months. So in terms of texture, appearance, softness, you can see as early as few weeks. The first measurable improvements in hydration, firmness, it comes with 6 weeks. And it improves after 12 weeks. So there is a cumulative effect. Because this peptide penetrates the skin and basically works from the inside out, the effects in the firmness and the fine lines, wrinkles, they can take around 12 weeks. So one of the things that we always talk about OneSkin is that we are here not to improve your skin only in the in the short term. We are here to improve your skin for the long term. We are here to make your skin more resilient and to really protect you as you go through this aging process. And so 5 years, 10 years from now, by using OneSkin, and we're gathering more data around that, we want to make sure that we're not only rejuvenating your skin at the biological level, but we are promoting this more resilient, strong, and functional skin. So we advocate for like the long-term effect of the product.
And we should probably be uber specific with this thought is that, let's say, as a case example, you're using a high quality skincare and you're diligent with your routine, and you're not using some sunscreen during the day. Okay, we got some problems, right?
Yeah.
And let's just say you use a skincare lotion and you're using sunblock, and you're being smart about your exposure to sun. However, you're drinking a bunch of alcohol and eating high salt foods. Okay, we got a problem. Mm-hmm. And this is not about alcohol.
Yeah.
This is not about flavorful foods. This is about technically alcohol is a poison to the body. You can have alcohol poisoning. So there's this ecosystem of eating well, drinking well, moving well, thinking well. And grandma said all of these things to both of us, right? Make sure you eat your vegetables, make sure you're drinking plenty of water, make sure you're doing your exercise. Okay. All of that actually shows up for longevity, vitality, fill in the blank of whatever. What is your favorite term? Is it longevity, health span, lifespan?
I like longevity. I don't think most people still understand what longevity means, but to me, longevity is to stay healthy as long as possible, not about living longer, but extending health span.
The quality of life, for as long as you possibly can. Okay, and so the subject would be corrupted in the science if they were highly dehydrated. So your subjects must have a baseline of hydration. Can you just talk about hydration and the importance of proper hydration and how you hydrate yourself to give your skin and other tissue organs, the best chance?
Yeah, so definitely hydration and water, it's an essential part of our, metabolism. So we need the water for our cells to function well. And for the skin more specifically, what is interesting, you do need to hydrate, but you also need to hold moisture into your skin. So in order to hold moisture, you needed to have an intact or strong skin barrier, mainly that the outer layer of your skin needs to be strong and without breaks, and that will help hold hydration. You can also add moisturizers that contains molecules like hyaluronic acid, that this will hold water on top and prevent water loss. But you need basically the best thing that you can do to maintain your skin hydrated. It's improving your skin barrier so it prevents the water loss.
Okay, cool thought. But there's a barrier on the skin that you're saying is really important.
Yeah.
The hyaluronic acid. And can you speak to retinol?
Yeah.
Or Retin A, or there's an explosion of this that has kind of flooded the beauty industry. So I'm wondering if you can help us there. But what you're pointing to is you need a barrier of hydration on the outer layer. And is that so that, I don't know, let's say when you wash your face, you want to put your lotion on when there's some moisture?
Yeah, that helps. When your skin is damp. Yeah.
Slightly?
Yeah, slightly damp.
Yeah, if I put it on and there's too much water, it just kind of slides everywhere.
Yeah,
So
just slightly damp, and it helps retain the moisture and better.
Okay, and your product, hyaluronic acid, is not in your product. That's not.
It is. We have 3 different types of hyaluronic acid in our products. One that's like low molecular weight that can actually penetrate the skin. And this is supposed to activate your skin to produce hyaluronic acid, which is the best, both for hyaluronic acid and collagen, the best way to improve these two important components of the skin. It's
collagen and hyaluronic acid.
Is by inducing your skin cells to produce those two.
Oh, so again, you're a stem cell researcher.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And so the low molecular weight, there are a lot of studies showing that it activates your skin cells to produce. The medium and the high molecular weight means that it may not penetrate into the skin, so sit on top of your skin, but will hold water on top, and then will also help like preventing the water loss. So it holds water, and if you have a strong skin barrier, you're gonna also prevent the water loss. And so to your point about retinol or retin A, how retin A works is by inducing cell renewal. So you're inducing the upper layers of your skin to come off. And so temporarily you are removing that protective skin barrier. It's very interesting when we treat the skin in the lab with retinol, we see that the skin is basically naked for, a while. And then after your skin regrows, you build that barrier, the keratin, like the stratum corneum layer, and then you would be again protected. But during the time that you're peeling, you basically see that your skin is more sensitive. It's more, it gets drier, and it gets more, again, sensitive to sun exposure because it is exposed.
Yeah, there's a slight burn when you put it on.
Yeah.
And then, the reason I'm asking you all these questions is because when I was in high school, I actually got a lot of comments about how great my skin was. My friends were breaking out. And so I do want to talk about acne in a minute, because there's a bit of trauma around this for me. So I had really nice skin. I surfed all the time. I was a healthy kid. And then I got to college. So my first year in college, it was terrible. Like, it was bad. My skin like erupted. And so I don't know if you've ever had this experience, but there's nowhere to go.
Was there a stress or any kind of event that happened?
Yeah. Like there was a high stress phase that I was in, and it was lots of emotional turmoil, during that phase for me. And there's nowhere to go. So I'd wear a hat to try to hide a little bit. And I mean, it's just like, I didn't want to make eye contact, but then I would make eye contact to make sure that they wouldn't look at my face and look at my eyes instead. So it was like, I wouldn't call it traumatic because, all right, get over it, Mike. There's real trauma, but it was like a continual slow drip of embarrassment.
Yeah.
And I felt like there was very little. So I was surfing. I didn't want to give up surfing. So retin A wasn't quite there yet. But what was the medication?
Accutane.
Accutane.
Yeah.
And that meant stop surfing. So I wasn't going to do that
because of the sun.
Because of the sun sensitivities. Yeah. So I had to work through that. And so that's why I'm asking about like skin health, not just for longevity, but for the folks that have kids and their skin is a disaster from whatever. It breaks my heart. I have great empathy for those folks that look at themselves and don't like the way their skin looks. And so I'll pause there, but that's why I'm asking all these questions, to try to understand best practices.
And I think, and obviously I don't mean that OneSkin it's by any means any silver bullet, and I think what you experience and a lot of people experience is definitely a reflection of a lot of underlying problems, right? The stress, maybe the lack of sleep, and
check.
Yeah. And so, but we see that's how the skin look can actually affect really deeply a lot of people, psychologically.
Why did you ask about stress?
Because the stress, it's basically one of the main drivers of inflammation, and that will really clearly reflect on your skin.
Right. Okay. PhD, CEO, successful launch from the laboratory to a product that's based in science, fundraising. You are the voice, the face, the emblem of the brand. It almost seems like, wait, who are you? Like that. So there's something happening here that's pretty extraordinary to me. So when I ask you, like, how have you done all this? Where do you naturally take that question?
Well, by failing a lot. And when you say all of those things, it seems a very linear and smooth, path. And it was completely the opposite of this. So imagine I came to San Francisco by myself, could barely speak English. I didn't even have a product. But I got into this accelerator and I have an idea and I know that this is my chance to make this happen because I've tried to make a company in Brazil and I didn't find the market, the ecosystem, the funding. And so I'm here and by myself and I needed to figure this out. So it was scary. It was like the most challenging time of my professional career. And in the first year and the first few months, there were so many low moments and I was always finding new limits that I didn't know about myself, how much I can push through.
Okay, let's stay there for a minute. First, what kind of resources did you come to the United States with? Did you come with like $500,000? Did you come with $10 million?
No.
Did you come with $10?
So when we got into this accelerator, we got a pre-seed funding. So we got the $200,000 in cash. And with this
For the founder?
For
the founding
company.
team, for the company, right? Yeah.
So with this funding, we needed to, survive. We needed to build a product. We needed to hire people.
200,000.
Yeah.
That's like.
That's not a lot. And I knew that I needed to figure out a way either to have a solution before this I ran out of this 200 or I needed to raise more money. So it was very clear for me that I needed to, figure out one of these two things or the company is going to die.
Okay. So to be concrete, did you come to the US with like family wealth?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like literally, what did you have in your pocket?
There was no support from my family. I don't even remember, if I had a few $100s. I was using.
You had to make something work.
Yeah,
Is that
exactly.
right? Okay. What does it take for somebody to be able to dare to risk to grab the next vine that seems just out of touch, but you know that next vine is the one you want to get to, and you can get your fingertips on it. I think about life in that way. I'm swinging on this vine. I see the next one I want to grab. It's just out of reach. Do I let go of the one that's swinging? I don't like how this one's swinging. There's bigger, better ones. How do you let go and grab the new one? Like, what are the internal resources that you can teach the listener to be able to take the next step in their life?
I think for me, when I came, was very clear that this was an opportunity of a lifetime. As I said, I didn't know much about Silicon Valley. I just knew that here would be the place that they would support innovation, they would support big ideas, and if I tried my best, if I worked really hard, I would find a way out. And obviously, it was really hard to leave my comfort zone, my native language, my family, and and starting to this unknown place. But at the same time, I had this dream that I wanna make it happen, and so I came with this very clear mindset. This gotta work no matter what.
Describe that mindset.
First of all, like if I came here and I found myself in Silicon Valley, surrounded by incredible, brilliant people, and I'm looking like these people are so smart and more experienced than I am. First thought, like what I'm doing here. Second thought, I've done something right to be here. And third thought, if they are building something huge, I can also do it. So I started internalizing that mindset that I can do it as well, and dream, and start like dreaming big and really believing that I could figure this out. And it was not easy. And there was, we pivoted like 3 times before we got to what we're doing today during 4 months. But I think always giving my best and not letting myself down when things were not working, when we're getting no's, when people said that maybe you just should go back to Brazil and try there. And I just like kept going, and eventually, one door open, a second door open.
So I hear 3 things. I hear an honest insight into how you are working. There's some doubt, there's some confidence, there's some optimism. Why not me? Which is like back to confidence. And then there's some purpose in here, to go big, and we can open all these up. But I would love to hear how you speak to yourself. And this idea of self-talk to be at the foundation of your inner experience. The way you speak to yourself, the way I speak to myself, is in essence the relationship I have with myself. So I'll oversimplify it. It's never going to be this easy. There's a productive, positive way to speak to myself. And then there's kind of a negative, critical, if there was a scale of 1 to 10 for confidence, where do you sit on that? And then that'll frame how you answer the first question, which is how do you speak to yourself? 1 to 10 on confidence. High score is something like, yeah, like bet on me. I don't know, but I'm going to give it a great shot. Like put me in the game. That's like somebody that's, confident. So not arrogant.
Yeah.
Like I'm a winner. Like that,
Yeah.
that's for people that don't really know how to step into the next level, if you will. I could say that if I went into the 8th grade gym to play ball. Oh, actually nowadays, who knows? Maybe 6th grade gym to play some basketball. So, okay. So 1 to 10, how would you score yourself on this made up scale of confidence? And then how do you speak to yourself?
I think when I got here, so it's kind of, I see a duality, because a lot of times I'm doubting myself, but at the same time, I believe that I can do it.
But let me hear that. Let me hear, what does it sound like when you're doubting? How does that sound in your head? And what does it sound like when you're converting it to something to believe in yourself?
Yeah, when I'm doubting, for example, we didn't have a product, and so for me it was like, how I'm gonna do this? I don't have a product. There is so much going on out there.
Wait, that's worry. That's not doubt. So worry is like, or anxious is like, how am I going to get this? Doubt is, I don't think I can do this. I'm a mess. They're going to find out one day. I don't think I can do. So worry is like, how am I going to do this? How am I? So
yeah.
Which one is it?
So it's definitely a worry. I never, so okay, that's a good point. I never doubted that I could do it. I didn't know how I would get
So
there.
anxious worry
Yeah.
more than doubt.
Yeah.
And then self-critical, which would be another one of the
Yeah.
culprits, would be like, the fuck is wrong with me? Like, geez, like, this is, am I ever going to figure this out? Come on. That's a self-critical nature. So you're not self-critical.
I'm self-critical when I feel, okay, I don't know everything that I need to know to talk to investors. So I feel that I'm not ready.
Wait, that's doubt.
Okay.
That's doubt. Okay,
Okay.
self-critical is like, you're just not smart enough. I'm not smart enough.
Yeah.
You know,
okay.
I'm not, that's self-critical. Self-doubt
Yeah.
is like, boy, I don't know. I don't know if I can get this done.
Yeah.
You know, well, actually, that's a little bit of
Yeah,
crosswalking between worry and
it's-
doubt. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. So you would index over on worry,
Yeah.
a little bit of doubt, but not critical.
I feel that I'm critical about myself all the time, but at the same time,
But let me hear it. What does that sound like?
yeah, I don't know, you're not good enough or not as
That's
smart.
critical. You're not
yeah.
good enough. You're not
Not
smart enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? PhD, immunology, like, and somehow you would say you're not smart enough. Can I stay here for a minute? Because this is like materially important, because I think that what you're sharing, people are afraid to share and they don't share. And then we walk around thinking we're the only ones that think this way. I know this thought that I'm not smart enough. It was born out of an early trauma for me. And so I over-indexed on leading with competence and intelligence to the point that I drowned out empathy and compassion. So I had to relearn those two capabilities. What happened for you early in your life to go to a place where you, of all people, would say, maybe I am not smart enough? Which obviously I'm sitting across from you. You have all the intellectual horsepower and capabilities of somebody far above average intelligence.
Yeah, I think actually was first when I started this entrepreneur career, in which I had no idea was how to start a company. I'm a scientist, but I want to start a company. So I have zero foundation. So that's when I, started like doubting, because I know that I could learn, but I felt behind. I didn't feel that I had like the knowledge or the skills or the experience that I need. And then second, when I came here, again, I needed to learn the language. I needed to learn about how to build a company, Silicon Valley. And I needed even to develop a technology. So there were so many things that were kind of pushing me back. So, and definitely here was like the most of the challenging times that...
This is actually why I would bet on you if I was an investor, because you can do an honest inventory to say, look, I don't have all the answers. I actually am not quite clear, but I do know A, B, C, and D, and I do have an idea that, X, Y, and Z, and this is the bet that I want to play. And you probably would say to somebody, look, I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah. And that's how I did it, and luckily found people that saw this drive in myself, that saw that the idea that we had, I have partners, was an idea that if it actually worked out, this could be massive. And the market was clear. The market was there. Aging, longevity, skincare. It's a very clear market. And so when you are starting and you don't have a lot of results or traction, or you don't have like a stamp on your resume, you needed to find people that will see what most people want, and most investors will pass on you. It's hard. It's harder to see the non-obvious.
And let's bring to the surface, there's at least awareness. I'm not sure the solutions are in place, but Silicon Valley investing in women is by far outbalanced to the money investing in male or men as founders. So nice job on changing that narrative And then before we move off this topic, how do you convert self-doubt, worry into something productive? Like, what do you do in that space once you're aware of like, whoa, that type of thinking is not going to work? How do you convert it? And what does it sound like? This two-part question. And what does it sound like when it's like amazing to be inside your head?
Yeah. I think I start to look for the reasons or like where I am today. So if I'm here, I have some merit. And if I got here, I can get way farther. And you start to, and I know that I can do this. And I know that, I think one of my, I don't know if you call like advantages, but is that I'm not afraid to try. I'm not afraid to really put myself out there. And so this courage that brought me here, and if people would criticize me, I wouldn't let, that affect me. I would believe in my self-worth, and I would like continue to push. So I have this courage or strong belief, and I think in the end is about this clear mission that I have. Like, I want to make this happen because I know that this is my purpose. I was fascinated about science since a young age. I want to solve big problems, and I know that this is my chance. And so when you hold yourself to that purpose, you can face anything.
Oh, yes. Okay. I understand. I'm so thrilled to meet you. And thank you for introducing a science-based product. Thank you for our partnership in being able to make this happen. You've been able to sponsor a couple of podcasts, which is awesome. And it's a pretty high bar for us. So thank you for that. And what a treat to meet you and to support you in every way that we possibly can. So I'm wishing all the best success.
Oh, thank you, Michael. I mean, thanks for digging to this. The feelings that I didn't, think about. And I hope my story is just an example of if I got here, anyone can do it. Like, I don't think I grew up not thinking that I would be here today. And so anything is possible if you believe in it. I think starts with the, believing in yourself and what you're set out to do. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my story and our mission as a company.
Yeah, I think there's probably a part two here because the fertile ground of how you're using your psychological principles to be able to do something really remarkable is something that we all can do, right? Am I going to be able to build a technology such as yours infused in? No, that's not my expertise. But I can take the insights and practices that you're using on how to work through self-doubt, work through self-criticalness, have purpose, confidence, and optimism. You have those three. As I'm listening, I'm like, oh, that's, if she were to go into the Superman Dewey goes into the phone booth and comes out, like, your conversion is like, you don't have to go in the phone booth. You have optimism, you have confidence, and you have purpose. And you're constantly working all three. But that's like the broth that allows this beautiful soup, if I mix a lot of metaphors in here, for you to build something awesome. So thank you. And then can you just hit us with like 1, 2, and 3 quick things that we can do, all of us can do, whether we had your product or not, all of us could do to take care of our skin, which is the largest organ in our body?
Yeah. I would just say first start with understanding what you're putting on your skin. A lot of times less is more. So I think before we had this idea of 10-step skincare routine, and you don't need this. You can have like your best healthy skin with a simple routine. I would say don't neglect your body. Your body is like 97% of your skin. And a lot of people will only pay attention on the skin of your body as you start, getting to your 50s, or women go through menopause and your skin starts to get thin and crepey and fragile. And imagine, like, you can think of your parents, like how thin the skin is, and eventually that skin is fragile and can really compromise your life if you're not able to have a resilient skin. So don't neglect your body. Be mindful of the sun. I love sun. I'm from Brazil. I think the sun gives me, energy, improves my mood. But I never get sunburn. I like sun in the morning. And then for the rest of the day, I'm going to apply an SPF, and I'm going to feel that my skin is protected. Do
you wear SPF? Like today you're on a flight and you're inside here.
Yeah.
Do you still put SPF on?
Yeah, daily. And flying is, you have a lot more radiation when you're flying, so you definitely need the SPF when you're flying.
Good to know. Yeah, that's actually a huge takeaway.
Yeah, and your skin gets more dry as well, so hydrate and SPF while you're flying is super important.
I'm going to say also, I'm going to add to your list, hydration.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to add to the list.
Hydration, sleep.
And I'm going to add some sort of awareness practice, some sort of, so you're not caught in the rapids of life, that whether it's meditation or journaling or conversations with people of wisdom, like something to know how your inner life works. Because if you can reduce your stress, your chronic stress levels, or work well with stress, which is obviously the major influences in our life. Yeah, so
100%. Yeah, stress, I think it will impact your skin, as we talked about, and it will impact your overall body. So to me, it's the most challenging ones. I think stress and sleep, they're usually correlated, and I'm always, trying to find that balance. Other things that everyone knows, exercise will also impact your skin. Your microbiome will definitely impact your skin. You talked about hydration, mainly now in the winter, so make sure that we're not into heaters all the time, and using humidifiers, really doubling
down. Do you use a humidifier?
Yeah, definitely.
Not a dehumidifier. You use a humidifier. Yeah, brilliant. And I just want to make sure to say thank you for, and I'm sure that people are going to definitely go to your website right now, because you provided a special discount for us. And so, of course, thank you for doing that for us.
Yeah, the code is Finding Mastery. And you can go to oneskin.co/finding mastery.
Yeah, thank you. This is great. Now, I think at this point, people are like, of course I need some. Yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing that I would say is that if you subscribe to our newsletters, we always share the data that we generate in the lab, all the studies that we do. We invite people to be consumer testers of our new products. We also share a lot of content around longevity and new studies that are coming up. So
it's really rich.
Yeah.
The newsletter is really good. Thank you so much.
Yes.
This is great.
Of course.
I'm rooting for you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, that was a good one. Emma, who do we have up next?
So this time we were on the road as we traveled to Seattle, and you got to sit down with the Seattle Seahawks' very own John Schneider.
That's right. This one was so fun. This was great. We got to sit down with John Schneider, the general manager of the Seattle Seahawks. This one's special because I got to work with him for so long. He's a friend, and he brings us into this candid conversation, a rare conversation about leadership, about resilience, the power of direct communication. From the work ethic instilled by his parents to the tough decisions he's faced in the high-pressured world of American football. But this is not about football. This is a conversation about leading with purpose and managing high-stakes environments and staying grounded in the face of adversity. Tune in, and you'll hear what it takes to build a championship caliber team with my friend, colleague, the general manager of the Seattle Seahawks, John Schneider.